I guess that's just for me. Just like it came natural.
Yeah.
Because and going back to sports, like I played sports throughout school, but I found myself. I kid you not, like junior high, middle school. I knew sports were my way out. Like I just
This
knew
ain't it.
that ain't it because I ain't gonna lie, I was average, like I was decent, but I knew I wasn't like a superstar. Like I would go in, do what I had to do, get out the field, court, whatever. But I was like, I was always like into tech or into like a book or something. So
That's okay. Shoot.
and that's okay.
That's cool.
And y'all, look, believe me, it is okay.
Oh no! They don't get it. It's okay. We get it.
I was like, yes, Lord, come on with the cancellations.
Ooh, we going in and now just kidding.
I don't know if you know this, but I'm black. Am I good?
He's with the best of them, and he's one of my favorite men to emphasize.
that entrance sounds like much more than who I actually am.
My guest of honor is a man of integrity with an eye for design. He graduated from UT Arlington in 2016. Now he serves as a multimedia specialist and creative consultant. He's the owner and creator of QB's Clean Cut Designs, and he was recently featured in an article published by Voyage Dallas. He believes that staying true to yourself is the ultimate key to success, so he has committed himself to lead by example. Today, my guest of honor is my brother, Quincy Burse. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem. I had to get you on here because, look, it's the new year, and I was like, we got to get some new faces on here that I know have a good message. And I feel like you are definitely one of those people who I believe is like a really stand-up person. We don't have very many authentic people walking on this earth. So I'm grateful to, that God let our paths cross because, yeah. I done seen a few.
I have to. Well, let's not get into that. That'll be a tangent. But yeah, first time on a podcast, so
look at that. Well, welcome to Level Up with Coach K.
Hey, I'm here.
Yes. How has quarantining been going for you? Even though we're in the new year, how has it went all 2020?
I've been quarantining my whole life.
I've been quarantining my whole life.
And I'm a homebody. This ain't nothing new to me.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, like, you want to go to the movies or go to the mall, stuff like that, without having to like wear masks and stuff like that. But I mean, I'm a homebody anyway, so it's not really a bad thing. But I miss going to like games and stuff, like basketball games, football games.
Yeah, I do miss that, bro. The sport aspect, oh my God. I miss it.
And seeing the stuff without fans, it's just like, man, that ain't it.
It's not. It's like, I think it's interesting how in 2020 we were able to see people like pivot quickly. Like, the NBA, the NFL, all of those major corporations, They pivoted very quickly. But it still was just like, I miss being there.
Right. Even if you weren't there, you miss like hearing it like you were there.
Yeah.
And it's just like, now all you hear is sneakers, the basketball bouncing, some occasional trash talk, which is actually kind of cool. But then again, you just miss that element because home court advantage. And, So.
Yeah, I always say we get to see the essentials. You know how they overuse the word essential 2020? Like, I feel like 2020 has definitely led us to like recognize the essentials. And me being an ex-basketball player, hearing the squeaks of the shoes is my favorite part anyway.
Right.
So I find that very interesting. Like, we're down to the essentials.
Right. the fundamentals of the game.
Good word, fundamentals of the game. Right. Well, speaking of fundamentals, this game called life definitely calls us to like pivot quickly and hold on to like certain characteristics that make us who we are. So tell me a little bit about who Quincy is as a person. Like, What makes you who you are?
I'm real, I guess, chill, very quiet, real observant. But like once I kind of get comfortable out my shell, people see me for who I am. You know what I'm saying? But I come off a little awkward, but at the same time, that makes me who I am. So I get looks all the time, like people think I'm weird or whatever. But I just kind of, again, like we were talking about earlier, like I just stay true to myself. Like I'm not the type to be loud in the room because people that be loud for no reason, like that makes me feel like you're insecure about something.
Yeah.
So I feel like for me, I'm quiet, I'm observing, I chip in when the conversation is like intriguing, because there's sometimes I was in places where like the conversation was like stupid. I'm like, I'm not about to waste my time and energy on stuff like this, because that's just not my crowd. That's not my lane. So it's just something important for all the young folks out there. Like I'm not young, but just stay in your lane. Like if you don't feel comfortable like in the setting or a situation, then you can leave. But I've been in areas where it's just like, man, this just ain't for me.
Right.
And, that kind of made me like, I guess people like me a little bit, but because you kind of take that on your own path. Like you're not trying to be like somebody else.
Right.
So I always strive on being different. Like you're not going to see somebody that's like exactly like me. Unless it's like a family member or,
our genes are strong.
Facts. Facts.
Strong genes.
But it's just like, I feel like that kind of made me, set myself apart, because I'm just that type of guy. Like real reserved, real like chill, just I can talk about anything with anybody, especially if it's like engaging and intriguing. But
yeah,
if I feel like it's not in my best interest, then I'm gonna be quiet on my phone and on the couch, on TV, something. I'm gonna be somewhere like not paying attention because I'm not interested. But it's just something that just a characteristic that I have. Just kind of be myself without feeling weird about it. So
yeah, it takes time for people to get to the point where you're at right now to like start giving 0 ifs about it. You know what I'm saying? Like it takes a minute for people to get to that point. And unfortunately, a lot of times it takes getting hurt a lot. You know what I'm saying? To like really wake you up and be like, bro,
right.
If you don't get it together, you're going to keep the cycle going. So, what would you say are your like 5 non-negotiables when it comes to like people you let in your space or, your friendships and relationships?
Non-negotiables?
Yeah.
One, I think the biggest one is like, if I don't get that sense of loyalty, like kind of like when we meet, or like not when we meet, but like over time, you out of there. Like there's no, if I share stuff with you and somebody else know it, like without even knowing me, that's an issue. So like, if I'm like confident enough to like tell you certain things or talk to you about certain things, situations, and like people looking at me side eye, you know what I'm saying? Just based off like, that situation, like that ain't for me. That's one. Two, I guess they go hand in hand, like the trust factor. I'm not, like I like to be transparent, but there's times where like I feel like my trust was not like valued. So I just kind of, you get back into your little hole, because people don't value that trust value when it comes to friendships, relationships, partnerships, whatever it may be. 3, like attention seeking, like attention whores. I can't stand that.
I'm with you on that one.
Because it's like, what are you doing it for? Like, are you doing it for clout? Or are you doing it to make yourself feel good? Like, what's the end goal? Like for me, I like people that's just being themselves. Like you don't have to like be extra, for me to be your friend or whatever. It's just like, just be yourself. 4 would be your thought process. Especially in relationships. If the way you think is like a turn off for me, that's it. Like we're not even gonna get past a certain age, and I don't want to get into that. But you know,
that
I'm
mental
hitting.
aspect is good. Yeah,
Right.
the mental aspect is important.
Right. It's just like if I can't like hold a conversation with you, like intellect, like we can't talk about something that's not like gossip. Nah. So like I feel like, and that's, you know, don't get me wrong, like it happens, but that's all you talk about. That's it. Like we got a whole bunch of other stuff going on that we can like be talking about. We can strategize about. We can do these different things, but just the way you think, the way you like carry yourself, like that's non-negotiable. Those four right there, that's the core for me. I mean,
what's on your shirt though?
That should have been number one. If you're not a believer, then
you can hit them with the last but not least.
Yeah, last but not least. If you're not a believer, like you might as well, you know, forget about it. I feel like that's the thing. Well, I feel like that was more like hand in hand with your thought process.
Yeah.
Like people get this perception, like if you like are a follower of Christ or you a Christian, they get this like, oh, you just like them people at the church. Like, what you mean people at the church? Like, what?
Yeah.
Talk to me about it. Or them people, them Bible toting money getting preachers. I'm like, or people in the church. I'm like, you know, that's just an aspect, you know, that people only see.
Yeah.
That's not what goes on inside the church. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some preachers out here and people, you know, that do stuff that leaves a bad taste in people's mouth.
Yeah.
And it kind of like puts that perception like, oh, if they're like this, then they must automatically like them. No. Right.
It's not true.
It's not true. I think people like get that misconception. Like people, we have fun. Like we have fun just like you. You know what I'm saying? It may not
be good too, man. We have
fun. Exactly. It's just like, yo, what logic is that? And you know, I have conversations with like people all the time. Like, you know, I wear stuff like this, or I have a bracelet on and say something, or you know, because I just know where my strength comes from, where the source is.
Absolutely.
So I always like keep that with me. And, you know, if people realize like why we're actually here, I think more people will understand.
Yeah.
And, you know, I like sharing that with people because like they kind of don't think about it that way.
Yeah.
Because they just think like, oh, I'm here, you know what I'm saying? But not like, why, like, why are you here? What's your purpose of being here? Like, you could have been gone a long time ago. You couldn't even been born. So you're here for a reason.
Yeah.
So like when people like kind of like have that negative connotation about people who are in love with church or who like going to church, who read their Bible study, whatever you got to do, serving, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't have an issue with that. I just feel like we live in this era where people just like want to do alternative things instead of like going to the actual stores. And that eats me up because it's like, yo, like, because they have that instant success. And it's just baffling to me, like how people are when it comes to that. It's just like, I think people get religion and relationship like misconstrued.
Super.
Like you can be religious, you can be the first lady, you can be the mother of the church and still go in the parking lot, cut somebody out because they look at you wrong.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people get that mixed up at, because we all know, I grew up Baptist, we all had that old mean lady at the church who made you not want to go no more.
Yep.
So it's just like, or that mean usher, or that mean deacon, or that preacher that you just didn't like.
Yeah.
Like we all had that, but that doesn't mean like just because you happen to do that or go to that church, you just like them.
Right.
It's not I feel like, and my bishop say this all the time, like this goes outside these four walls. So I think people just think like, oh, it's just church. No. Like
no.
your ministry is not just church. Your ministry could be what we're doing right now. It could be your career path. It could be, you know, different things. Like I have a friend who's a personal trainer. Like she basically left here, went back home to start her ministry. She says it's not sports, it's ministry. That's her saying.
It is a ministry.
When you think about it, I'm like, yeah. Like, and what I do, like, you know, when it comes to like tech stuff, helping people, you know, get started up with stuff, like that's ministry.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I love doing that because that's just something that, God blessed me with. So, why not, share it? And then, it's just when people like say stuff, it's like, I just kind of like, I sigh, but at the same time, like I just feel like they don't know. Like they don't know.
It's true.
And, I would, I don't mind talking to people about it because I love different perspectives. I may not agree with it. We can agree to disagree, but like I love hearing different perspectives because, I didn't think about it that way, or I didn't view it the way you view it, or people experience certain things in church, and that scars them for a long time. And I'm not oblivious to that. So
yeah.
But I just the way people think, the way people look at certain stuff, it's tiring. And I think some people too. This makes me mad. It gets under my skin. Like we live in a microwave society.
Absolutely.
And when people make remarks about, oh, your God didn't do this at this amount of time or this certain time, I'm just like, that grinds my gears. Cause I'm like, yo, like y'all don't understand what you got can come crashing down. When we've seen it,
quick.
Oh, like these people that are like these so-called self-made millionaires, and there are some actually true self-made millionaires.
Nobody's self-made.
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
it's just like you did that by yourself.
No.
Like you did it by yourself. Like seriously, like you, like nobody, like you didn't pray. Oh, you manifested. That's what you did. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So, like, when I tell you, like, when I saw this certain individual, I'm not gonna say her name.
I don't know who you're talking about.
When I saw that individual, like, I loved her. Like, I really did.
Yeah.
And when she started doing that stuff, I'm just like, she gonna have a bad fall. Like, talking about certain things, I'm just like, because seeing her grind was inspiring.
Yeah.
Seeing where she started to getting to a certain point to actually like being prominent and actually making something of herself, it's inspiring. And then when she started doing these new age practices and stuff like that,
yeah,
that's when you mess up. And then like you saw the trickle down.
Yeah.
You saw this getting canceled. You saw her getting canceled. You saw like, and cancel culture is not real. It's not a thing. You can't cancel a person, but
you can make them feel that way though.
Exactly. And my thing is you deny, but behind closed doors, you like, man, what happened? Like, what happened to all my assets? What happened to all my supporters that actually like support me when I started?
Yeah.
And when people like get the big head, like people have that haughty spirit, it's not good. And I just like think to myself like, man, and I want to tell like anybody that's like coming up, like younger than me, like, one, always remain humble. Like, no matter where you are, like, no matter where, like, if you start from the bottom and you just have an overnight success story, always remember where you came from. Always, like, stay true to yourself. Because if you don't, you're going to find yourself in a season where ain't nobody around. The stuff that you had, it's going to be gone, or it's going to be little. Yeah. You're going to be fighting, scratching, and clawing to get back to where you were, but it's going to take longer because you didn't appreciate what you had. You didn't appreciate, the people that were actually for you when you didn't have it. Because when people get money and stuff, get success, they forget about the homies back home. They forget about the people that was with them, like when things like we didn't know if things were gonna work out. But like, soon as you rise up, things change. I'm just like, man, all y'all out there that's like really had an entrepreneur mindset, that have like career goals, I always remember, like, one, stay prayed up for sure. Like, don't.
I can tell you that.
Man, look, don't. Just because you get a little, come up, don't stop praying. Please don't stop praying, because I feel like we pray for these blessings, but we don't pray for like how to keep them. You know what I'm saying? Like, as soon as we get them, they could be gone. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially like if you like get high minded, it's no good. Like
that's why you have to start when you're in the preparation mode. You have to make sure that you're praying for the mind to handle that stuff. You have to pray for like God to enhance your characteristics and your mindset to be able to handle the weight of the responsibility of the blessing. Because at the end of the day, it's like nobody is self-made. I can't say this enough. And you're talking to somebody who wants to be a full-time entrepreneur. Who entrepreneurship is me. So, it's like you have to keep that in mind so that you don't lose your peace, because the journey is extremely rough terrain. It's not this like, oh, I got 1 million followers and then I just took off. You may do that, but then you will fumble the purpose. And it's sad to watch people fall like that.
Oh my God. Like it hurts my heart, because it's just like, man, these people, man, they really like started from humble beginnings, and then once they got there. My thing is like, it's scary because again, we're in an age where everything on your phone, social media. And people like, kids nowadays, like teenagers or whatever, like they want to do that. Oh, I want to do that. I can get 1 million followers and do this. Oh, okay. No. Like, I feel like people don't understand what the people do behind the scenes. Like, who knows what they done
did a lot of work
to get to who done, like, people be selling their souls. Like, nobody knows. And that's why it's just like, man, just like be yourself. Like, it brings back to like, be yourself at all times, because being yourself will get you farther than where they are, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Because you don't have to pay for nothing. You don't gotta sell your soul for nothing. Like, you just be yourself.
Yeah.
And if it take a while, that's okay. At least you still going. You know what I'm saying? Like, just don't get stagnant. Like, don't let what you see on social media, what you see on these different platforms, don't let it get to you. Like, just because they got it right now, I mean, they might have it forever.
And it starts from somewhere too. Like, I think it's important to say that. Like, it starts as small, a mustard seed. You know how we all faith the size of a mustard seed. But like, every experience that you have is really like giving you parts of, the big picture. Exactly. It really is like you're gaining like the stripes and the merit points, everything while you journey. And that's what people want to skip. And I'll be like, no, don't skip.
You don't, please don't skip, y'all. Yeah, don't skip the journey. Believe me.
Don't skip that part.
Don't skip the journey. If it was that easy, you're not gonna want it.
Exactly.
Let's just be real. Like, if it's easy to get to the top, everybody be at the top.
Yeah.
It'll be crowded too.
Yeah, super crowded. I want to ask you this real quick. Did you watch the movie Soul?
I haven't finished it.
But you watched it. You know the premise of the movie. Man. Okay. Somebody was like posing this question, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm asking Quincy this." And I want to do a little a thing on Clubhouse with this too. But yeah, they asked like, they said the main thing I took from Soul is that your passion is not your purpose. And I was like, that is the absolute truth. And I think a lot of people get it misconstrued because they think that, oh, I love this so much and this is my purpose. And I'm like, no, your purpose is what God put you here for. Right. And your passions with an S, because I believe we have multiple gifts. Your passions are the vehicles that God utilizes, like the veins and the vessels, for him to get the purpose through those things in those realms. I truly believe that, like somebody who loves sports, they can love to play sports, but their purpose is to save lives. So they save lives through that passion. So I wanted to know what you thought about that.
I think, like, I feel like it's different for certain people.
Yeah.
So I guess for me, your passion, like you said, could be like why you put on this earth. And you can, well, not your passion, your purpose is the reason why you're on this earth. Your passions, like you said, like, you can have so many passions. You can be passionate about the Cowboys, who are
everything.
I think
so mad at
them.
I
think they're losing right now.
Oh God!
Your passions can be, it could be like, like nonprofit stuff. It can be anything of that nature. Sports, like it can be anything.
Yeah.
But I think people just kind of get that, like you said, everybody gets stagnant. I think people just don't think outside the box.
They don't.
Like, it's just more of like, you have to be open-minded enough to like realize, okay, this is my purpose, but what am I passionate about the most?
Yeah.
So like, for me, like I feel like my purpose on this earth is to help people in any realm that I can.
Yep.
Whether it be, tech, prayer, just being a good friend. But I'm passionate about really like uplifting people, the community.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm passionate about sports. I love sports. I'm passionate about these different things. Like, I always want to tie everything in.
Yeah.
Like, at some point.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I think people just really like just get this one thing in their mind, and they just stick with it without thinking like, okay, reality. Like, let's say, people think like their purpose changes. That's your passions.
Yeah, your passions change.
Your passions change. So, and what I got from the the movie like that, I gotta finish it. I think he was really like just like gung ho on that one thing, and then when he, I don't want to tell the movie. Everybody ain't seen it yet.
They gonna see it. They'll be all right.
All right, but like when you go in those different like dimensions and you see different things, it's like, whoa. Because it reminded me of Inside Out.
Yes, I love it.
Inside Out was basically the same thing, like your emotions, all these different things. Like, it's just like, man, just think outside the box. Like, just really like understand. Like, people not gonna know people don't know their purpose at different times. So you may not know it today, tomorrow, next week, next month. I feel like work on that. And then like just kind of like decipher what your passions are, and then if you see which is which, just
can you tell them how you feel like you discovered your purpose? Because I think a lot of people, I get this question all the time. Like, when people come to me and talk to me, they're like, I just don't know what my purpose is, and I don't know how to discover it. So can you tell people how you went about, or you feel like you went about? Because sometimes we don't know. How you realized it?
Man, I'll say this, Trina. Like, I'm an only child.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people get this perception of like only childs are like selfish, they entitled. Look, I knew what the word no meant. I knew what hell no meant. So I'm good. But
it's levels to this thing.
Exactly. But when I realized that I like seeing other people happy besides myself, that's when I knew, okay, I love helping people, because it don't matter what it is. Like, it's not about me at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Because like, if that's my mentality, then I feel like what's the point of like doing all this? Because if it's just about me and at the end goal, that's not fulfilling to me.
Right.
What's fulfilling to me is like helping somebody get to a certain point, to a certain level, to where they're successful too. Like, I'm celebrating you like it's me.
Exactly.
Like when I see, like you, for example, like when I saw you lost them 2 books after what you've been through, I was like, what? Yeah. Oh, can I name drop?
Yeah, you can name drop.
Yeah. My good sis Keely.
Yeah.
She done had a year.
Yeah.
But seeing her like persevere through everything, from the pandemic, giving childbirth in the pandemic.
Childbirth in the pandemic. Jesus.
Like, raising a 5-year-old, working full time.
Being a wife.
Being a intercessor, like being all these different hats, and still doing it constantly, even battling what she was battling.
Yeah.
That's inspiring. Consistency. And like, when I see them, like, when I see y'all like getting like the blessings that y'all deserve, that warms my heart. Mm-hmm. Because it's just like, man, they done grounded, and don't let me not forget James.
Yes, I'm proud of James.
I haven't talked to James in I don't know how long, but I always pay attention.
Yeah.
Because he giving free game without giving free game, if that makes sense. Like, he doing the same thing that he's always done. It's just in different realms. Like, he was in school.
And purpose.
Exactly. So he was just like, when I see him, do like the Crown Club, when I see him do the toy drive, when I see him do like the tax service, when I see him do these different things, he's just putting us on.
Yep.
So like how to be self-sufficient without relying on different things, because we all know what's happening right now. There's gonna be a time where we can't depend on these people that's in these offices.
Yep.
We got to depend on ourselves. We got to build our own village, and I feel like that's what he's doing. And
the time is now.
Exactly. And I feel like everybody talking about we're not our ancestors. Yeah, we are.
That's so disrespectful, though. No,
Exactly.
we're not, because if we were, we would be a lot stronger. Because I'm not gonna lie to you, I hate it when people say we're not our ancestors. How the audacity to say we're not. Like, first of all, I would love to be my ancestors. Do you know the amount of strength and vision they had to have, and faith they had to have in order to just think of a day where they could be free? Like, what was freedom to them? They didn't even know what that looked like, really.
They know what it looked like.
And disrespectful. That's so disrespectful.
That's these new age people.
Oh, that's disrespectful.
Like, when I see stuff like that, I'm like, man, they just don't know.
No.
Like, they just don't know, like, what they're saying. And I think people don't understand how powerful their words are.
Yeah.
And I feel like that, as Black people, that's why we're so divided now. Because
perspective.
Everybody's perspectives is different. Like, everybody's thinking patterns different. I'm not saying everybody think the same, but I think we need just to be on one accord.
We need one purpose.
Exactly. Exactly. We need one purpose, and we need people to not just be in it for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think people understand like how powerful we really are as one. Like nobody's looking at that big picture. Like,
other people
just imagine. That's why I try to stop everything.
And other people know, because if we actually reverted back to who we were when we were in Africa, it would be a completely different story. Like, it would be game over.
Man, it wouldn't be half this stuff that's going on right now with these people. It wouldn't be happening because
it'd be game over.
You think they're scared now?
I promise you. What'd you say, bro?
Wrap. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. Like, if you think they're scared now, and we're not even really doing like what we could be doing.
Yeah. But that takes us waking up and realizing who we are in Christ and who we are through our ancestors, because like that blood still runs through all of our veins. Like, Jesus's blood still works, and he gave us a very wealthy, rich heritage that we don't even tap into, which is sad.
Unfortunately,
we just let it sit there and fester.
That's why I'm happy that I actually, like, when I got to college. I grew up in a very rednecky city, I would say. But you would notice certain things, like subtle stuff, but like it wasn't like out like it is now. Yeah. But I'll never forget when I took my first like Black Studies course. Like, that changed everything. Yeah. And it made me understand how powerful I am as a Black man, how powerful my peers were as Black men and Black women. And it's just like you said, like, wow, if we really tap into this, we could like really like take over. Like, everybody talking about Wakanda. Yeah. 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 Like, we have as a people, we're so talented, we're so gifted in these different things.
Naturally.
It ain't even taught. It's just in us.
Naturally. Yep.
And it's just like, but people want to like be somebody else. I'm like, no. Yeah. Like, again,
we've been trained that way.
But be yourself. Like, yeah. My thing is like, this is something I've learned in my career that's it took a little detour, but it's all good. But one thing I've learned, and I continue to learn, is always pay attention, be aware, and to learn the game. And when I say learn the game, like, study wherever you are. Like, study, like, if it's somebody that don't look like you, study what they're not doing. Yep. Perfect it, craft it, rebuild it, make it your own. excel. Once you do that in everything that you do, you're gonna be fine. To me, in my estimation. But I've seen so many things where like in business and jobs and like career. That's probably for me. That's why it's like so hard for me now to like see certain jobs a certain way or like work in certain environments because it's like I can't. I see what you're doing. You know, I see your vision, but that ain't ethical. That ain't. You know, I don't want to attach myself to that.
You can't. You can't afford
and it's just like you can't afford to because it like now it kind of like makes you like I don't want to say blackball because I feel like we're unblackballable as a mentor of mine would say. But again, learn the game. Like learn the game. Take what they're not doing that you feel can be helpful for other people and use it. Like I've learned like what not to do from businesses like that I've worked at. Like I learned what not to do. Same thing with like how I grew up. Like when I saw certain people, I saw certain friends, how they treat people. Like, okay, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna be like that.
Yeah.
Because it landed them in a situation where, you know, they're not gonna see their family for the next, I don't know, 5-10 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, or you know, they burn bridges where they could have had opportunities. So, again, like, please, I beg y'all, just stay true to yourself. Learn the game. And sometimes you gotta play it too. Play it, but like always be 10 steps ahead. You gotta play it, but like be 10 steps ahead at the same time. You try to tell the people this, the young people this now, but it's just like they don't want to hear it because it's like, well, it's working for them. Like, yeah, but that's not the end goal, right? Like, do you want to be like them or do you want to be yourself? Like, what do you want to do? That's what I'm looking for. Open-minded to the point of where, like, okay, he won't steer me wrong. They're not gonna steer me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So they will because they don't want to see you bigger than them. So we're gonna call them them and they. We're gonna call them and they. So, but yeah, like that's something I will always like pass along to anybody that's like coming up or, you know, or people that may be starting over, you know, just like always like, just remember, like just play the game, learn the game, do it better than what they're trying to teach you or what they're trying to control you to do.
Yeah.
Don't allow yourself to be controlled by something that you don't feel comfortable with. That's my little piece of advice.
That's all right. Look, I agree with you, but I do want to add one piece. You made the statement to do what they're not doing, like pay attention to what they're not doing. I think that you should pay attention to all of it because, like, if you look at what they're doing, you can take that and perfect it as well. Right. So I think that it's just about being observant overall, and like if you're gonna like play the game, you gotta learn it. Right. Meaning you're gonna have to do some preparation outside of like some reading. Y'all got to pick up a book, bro. Pick up a book.
Man, I got a mini library over here. Right. I'm gonna get me another bookshelf.
I got some read. Too. I mean,
please read.
The information is in the books, y'all. I'm telling you. Look at this book. This is what I'm reading right now. Watch the white guys have all the fun. For real, Reginald Lewis. This is a billionaire. He was a billionaire in multiple realms. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I want to be in a space that I'm not physically in, I have to see it. Right. Or expose myself to it. And if I expose myself to it, or if God exposes me to it, that means it's possible for me to have it.
Exactly.
So that's how I look at it. I look at it that way.
That's a whole word, Trina. That's a whole word right there.
I feel it in my spirit for real though, bro, because really and honestly, I think people get so like off the path because they want it to come so fast. And I used to be that way when I was younger. I was trying to manipulate the situation. And when I noticed, like, when I started trying to manipulate the situation, I was always in a cycle, always messing up, always, like, back to ground zero. And it wasn't until I, like, surrendered and, like, said, God, all right, look, hey, it's all you, dude. Like, you got it. I'm not supposed to even implement nothing. You tell me what you want me to do, and I'm going to do that.
take your hands off of it.
And it's the easiest way to live. To be honest, like I know people think that discipline is being disciplined is a problem or it's hard. I'm like, no, it may be hard at the beginning, but once you get in the regimen, it works for you because it's working for who you are as a person, uniquely you. And God, you let God drive for you.
Right.
Y'all getting these self-driving cars, let him drive you.
not the self-driving car.
They do. I would never. But I just gotta do that.
For me, like, to piggyback, I think that's where I feel like that's where I messed up like years ago, where I found myself trying to do things in my own strength.
Yeah.
Instead of relying on, again, the true source. Like, please, for the love of God, do not lean on your own understanding, no matter like what it is. Like, whatever you do, always seek counsel, good counsel from God. Just please, because your own understanding will lead you to a path where you probably can't come back from. It just depends on where you go.
It's true.
And I say that because there was a point where I was like, man, why am I still in this place? Yeah. And I still ask myself that now. I'm just like, why am I still in this place? When is this going to like open up? And I had to realize like it's coming. Like every time, like during prayer, like every time, like I look up, I look around. Like, I mean, one, I'm here. That's the main thing. Yeah. Two, I have a job to go to. I may not like it. It may not be where I want to be in my career, but it's somewhere to be.
Yeah.
I moved during the whole pandemic.
Yeah. Look at how you living.
And it's just like you look around, it's like, wow, like the blessings are coming. It may not be like as fast, but they're there. Like the biggest blessings, you open your eyes every morning. So it's just, for me, it's just like, man, just again, stay true to yourself. I'm gonna keep saying that, but just like always remember, like, don't do these things in your own strength. Like, don't try to figure everything out yourself, because you can't figure everything out. It's not possible.
I've eliminated those words from my vocabulary.
Exactly.
To be honest with you,
because your words hold so much weight. I don't think people understand that. Because
you're never gonna figure it out. No, you're never gonna figure nothing out. Just go with the flow, bro.
Exactly. Like, don't try to figure nothing out. Just say, okay, God, I trust you, and keep on moving. Because like it's people just don't understand that aspect of life. Like, I feel like they should.
Yeah.
And we still going through it. Everybody learns. I learn something every day about myself, about everything. So it's just like stop trying to do stuff by yourself, because it's not going to end in a very pleasing fashion. It may be good for a moment, but that moment can be taken quickly. So
we weren't built for that, though. Like, we weren't built to be solo. We need community, and we need, first of all, we need the provision and the vision from God.
Right.
Period. But we need a support system, in a sense, even if it's just one person. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like, you need that one person to believe in you.
That's all you need.
That's all you need. And most of the times, like, that one person is going to be just God. Like, if you want to be honest, if you're trying to like do something that's never been done before, the people will come. Like, I always say, the people will come, the money will come, and the the accolades or whatever will come, even if they don't. You know what I'm saying? Right. As long as you're doing what God called you to do, you're gonna feel this sense of fulfillment, and you'll know it when you feel it, because the first time you feel it, you're gonna taste that feeling forever. Like, you're gonna always want to do those things that like represent that purpose, because it feels great and you feel satisfied when you do those acts.
Yeah,
it's so deep. It really like, is. So
I just want people to realize that as a collective, because they don't. Just tap into it, y'all. Just tap into it, because I feel like people don't understand the journey. Like, I just like think back of like where I was like a couple years ago. I'm just like, man, I'm glad I'm not there no more, because it was pretty dark. It was it was real bad, real dark. Just put it that way. But it's, that's just the peaks and valleys of life. Like, there's gonna be seasons where you're in the valley for a good minute. You may see a little bit of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Then you may go down a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So you may have to be like my bishop said this morning. Like, you may be on the backside of the mountain for a little bit. It's okay. Just know your time coming. Just always remember that if it's taking this long, he sustained you for this long. Just imagine what's on the other side.
Yeah.
Just imagine it, because those promises, they gonna come to you regardless, because he promised them to you. So I mean,
it's God's plan.
So you gotta realize that, you gotta understand that, because I don't think really people just want to like embrace that. That was my word for 2020, was embrace it. Like, embrace where you are.
Yeah.
Like, embrace the ugly. That was the thing for 2020 for me. And like, just remembering like where you came from to where you are, you're gonna appreciate it when everything do come to pass. So like I said, man, all y'all just like feel like y'all want to give up in anything that you're doing, don't. Everybody gonna fail. Everybody gonna fail. That's something I corrected when I was younger. Like, my biggest fear was failing, but I was like, we fail at something every day.
Yeah.
No matter what it is, we fail at something every day, no matter what it is. So,
and failure is a good thing.
Right, because it teaches you like that strategy. Okay, how can I come back better? How can I get past that certain obstacle and make me feel this time? So it's just kind of like, that's just a part of life. And then like now, like, I guess my biggest I don't want to say fear, but the biggest thing for me is I don't want to let the people down that have always been there for me. That have always like just kind of been that support system. I would never want to disappoint them or let them down in any capacity.
Then don't.
That's exactly. So it's just like, that's the biggest thing for me, and that's for anybody. Like, if somebody's been there for you and you find yourself in a place where like that will disappoint them, like just get out of it. Like, what you doing? Like, it's just kind of, I don't know. It's just real. I'm just thinking back on like that point in my life where it's like, man, I felt like I was up, but at the same time, like I wasn't right within myself.
Yeah.
And that led to a dark place. It led to a miserable place. Like, you saw me. If y'all would have saw me then and see me now, like physically, people would be like, dang, what happened? Like, I'm stress free.
And you start loving yourself.
So loving yourself. So you start your relationship with God get stronger. That was the biggest thing for me, with my relationship with God, to get way stronger than what it was, because not knowing Him for who He truly is, and knowing yourself and knowing yourself in Christ was a thing that I felt like was holding me back. And now that I'm like understanding more, like, it's the revelation comes. Like, you start seeing things differently. You start like, it's almost like like when somebody cross your mind and you text them or something, or you end up seeing them. And they kind of explain to you what's going on. It's like, oh, okay, that's why you crossed my mind. Okay, that's why I reached out to you, because of this certain situation. So,
you have to act on it though, because a lot of people don't. Like, honestly, wait, real quick before I say this, I want to go back to what you said. You were saying you don't want to disappoint the people that support you, and I think it's interesting because you can see your growth from what you just said there to now what you just said. I started loving myself, because a lot of people don't want to disappoint the people, but they don't care about disappointing themselves, which is like interesting to me. It's like we care more about other people.
That's something that I constantly work on daily, because just find myself doing more for everybody else than for me.
That's okay. Well, that's not okay. But I mean, you're gonna do more because you're service minded. So we kind of wanted the same on that, because at first I didn't start loving myself till I turned 27. I tell people the number 27 is very significant to me, because that's the year I started loving myself. obviously I was born on the 27th. And when I was 27, that's when I released my first book. 27 is significant to me because that's when I really started taking care of me. And it's okay to give and be, a servant to others, but you got to have boundaries too. And that's where I lacked. But I got them now. But
it's funny you say that. Funny you say that because I'm 27.
See,
so
it's a good number.
It's a great number. Just learning again those boundaries, and like I said, you grow every day, and like I said, you learn every day. I guess it's a constant. How can I put it? Life is a constant lesson because no matter where you are, what you're doing, something new or something profound is gonna happen.
Yeah.
So whether it's from a good decision, a bad decision, you're gonna learn from it. Yeah. Some people don't learn from it the first time, second time, third time, but they gonna learn it.
That's why they go through it a lot of times because they don't allow themselves to be aware enough and alert enough to absorb the knowledge just being given to them.
Exactly. So
because it's not pretty all the time. Everybody wants pretty lessons. I'll be like, nah, fam. I done had many ugly lessons. And
those would be the best ones, to be honest with you.
They are the best ones because it forces you out of your comfort zone.
Yep. Because it makes you think like, dang, like, why am I? It hurt, but I get it. Like, there's a lot of times you say, ouch, when you like learn something, like, ouch. Yeah. I was doing that. But at the same time, like, okay, how can I build on that and become better each and every day?
I would say the best way to build on that each and every day is allowing yourself to live, because a lot of times we shield ourselves from experiences because we got burnt before, so we don't like allow ourselves to try stuff or meet people or be open to new experiences. So you're just existing at that point. That is a horrible way to live. People always say I try too much stuff. I'll be like, girl, I'm out here trying because one of these things gonna stick. One of them gonna stick. And you have to believe that the vision that God gave you is strong enough to get you to where, like, it's strong enough to get you there. If you truly believe in it, you're gonna keep going. But if you don't believe in it that much, you got one foot in, one foot out, you're gonna be like, I don't know. I'm a little confused. Nothing about God is confusing. Like at all. It's he gonna be very clear with you, like, hey, get it together.
Right now.
Right now.
Because if you don't, it's gonna be delayed. I'm delayed. Like if you don't get it together, like I'm okay, you're gonna be in the same place.
Yeah, it's nothing confusing about God. Not nothing.
Yeah. That's boy.
I would say this too, like you're a business owner, so tell us a little bit about your business and how you even came to the point of starting the business, because just taking the leap of faith to start it is a lot.
Well, I'm glad you asked that, because Trina, actually it started with you.
Oh, did it start with me?
Yes, I don't know if you remember. My last semester of college, I asked to do like a little sample website for Memoirs of Virtue.
Oh yeah.
So that's how I came up with the name QB's Clean Cut Design.
Are you serious?
You know that? I didn't tell you that?
No.
Yeah. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that's actually how I started the name, because I had always did things like that, but I just never like really capitalized on it. So that was my capstone project for my last semester of college.
Wow.
So I came with the logo, the little Bitmoji thing, and for a while, like I wasn't really using it for that. I just kind of was like, hey, I do this type of stuff all the time. So like, I get family to call like, hey, can you make a flyer, or can you make me a brochure for church, or can you make me a flyer for church? Yeah, no problem. Or your granny call you like, Quincy, how you do this? I'm like, oh, just push that button. So
they so
my
cute.
My mama call like, hey, Quincy, how you merge this, or how do you do this, or how do you do that? I'm like, yeah, let's do it this way. And I've always been into tech, and you know, I feel like, or now, there's more of us in that space.
Yeah, it's getting
But
bigger.
I always wanted to be in that space, in that tech space. So I was like, I was at a point where I was working full time, but I was also doing on the side a little bit. And, that full time job, unfortunately it didn't work out. So it didn't work out for a lot of people. A lot of people like ended up, being laid off because of, certain circumstances. But it forced me to realize, okay, this is your gift, Quincy. Like, use it. Like, you really, like, you have a gift. Like, people around you at your job recognize what you're doing, and you're not getting paid for it. Yep. Like, what you doing? Yep. Like, I will never forget. Like, my old supervisor would tell me, like, man, you pick up all this stuff. Like, I'm gonna have you go teach everybody stuff. Like, every time there's a new like feature or a new something with the software, okay, y'all go. Quincy will come around and teach how to do it. That's just me, but just off of like figuring it out. Like, it's just a couple little things, whatever. Mm-hmm. But I guess that's just for me. Just like it came natural. Yeah. Because and going back to sports, like I played sports throughout school, but I found myself. I kid you not, like junior high, middle school, I knew sports went my way out. Like I just knew that ain't it, because I ain't gonna lie, I was average, like I was decent, but I knew I wasn't like a superstar. Like I would go in and do what I had to do, get out the field, court, whatever. But I was like, I was always like into tech or into like a book or something. So
that's okay. Shoot.
And that's okay.
That's cool.
And y'all, look, believe me, it is okay. Like,
you're gonna make more money than an athlete.
Man, what? And your life, honestly, your lifespan, like your body, and going back to like being into like, the business side of it, like once I started to realize like what I could do, like with what I had, like I just kind of started getting these ideas. Like I changed my logo, I got my portfolio together, start doing a little stuff on the side, like little sample stuff to kind of like get my feet wet and just kind of at least have stuff up there so people can see my work. And lo and behold, like there's a point where like that was the only income I had. Like I didn't have like, I was like, we talking about red, like red, like red, like I ain't never seen that before. And luckily, like my family, they're very supportive. They're still supportive now. But there was a point like, Quincy, you gotta do something. Like you can't. It ain't gonna be easy. So time went on, and I just kind of like just launched. Like I don't remember my actual launch date with the new, I guess, logo and stuff and the new services, but I'll never forget. I put a video together, and it was a big like reveal, and I used my favorite J. Cole intro for the song, and I just was like, that song to this day. I feel like that defines like my journey. Mm-hmm. Like the intro to the warm up, like that's my favorite. Like, if I'm feeling like I'm like, there are times like you want to give up, but like when I have like those down days, where I put that song on. Yeah. If I don't pray first, or if I don't put that song on or something like that, that's how I cope with certain things. Because it's kind of like it puts me back. Like, okay, all right, you're exactly where God wants you to be. Exactly. Stay where you are. Just stay there. Yeah. You're good. You're fine. Just remember, we all got to start somewhere. So that's what I remember, like going back when I created a video and those services. Like, okay, Quincy, you got to start somewhere. Yeah. And now like it was a point where like I was getting people coming to me about logos and websites and flyers and things of that nature, t-shirt design, stuff like that. Like it was good money, it was good. Like it helped, you know what I'm saying? And it built my confidence too, because it's like, okay, I'm all right. So, and then, it just kind of blossomed into something where it comes natural. Like, I haven't really done a design in a while, and that's due to work, but, there was times where I didn't have to like promote myself. It just came basically off of referrals.
Yeah.
So
That
like I
tells
heard you
you
do
something right there.
exactly. So I'm just like, I wasn't worried on nothing. I wasn't on anything. I just give her a referral like, hey, I heard you do resumes. I heard you do logo. Can you do a logo? I'm selling a book. Can you just put together like a little one pager for me to sell this book?
Yep.
Yeah. And it just was like, okay, Quincy, like this is your lane. Like this is what you do. Even though it's a million designers out there, people are coming to you.
Yeah.
so it's just like that made me like really appreciate and value, the entrepreneur mindset because it's gonna be times where ain't nobody calling you, ain't nobody checking for you. You get no likes, you get no comments, no shares, none of that.
I'm in that space right now. I've been in that space for 11 years. Like, you know what I'm saying?
But at the same time, God was like, keep going. Like God said, keep going because you helping somebody.
Yeah.
Somebody watching.
And it's not about them.
Right. But it's just like, you doing this for like this is stuff that make you happy. This is stuff that you love to do. So once I got that, okay, like there's times where I'll get in the creative space and just create something. And I'll send it to Keely. I'm like, hey sis, what you think about this? She was like, bro, I'd be like, what? What you been doing over there? I was like, I just got in the creative space and I just started making stuff. And
it's a beautiful feeling.
That's just something. And then that kind of made me more of like I guess you could say consulting.
Yeah,
because a lot of people come to me like, hey, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about that? Like, or how can I expand on this? Or how can I distribute this? And, I'm not big on titles. So it's just, for me, it's just like, okay, yeah, I can, it comes natural. Like when I get talking tech, because I can go on days and days and years talking about tech, but yeah, it's been a journey, and I would say I'm actually in the process of kind of like rebranding a little bit. So I got me a new piece of hardware over there that I'm excited to use. Yay! So I got everything I need now. I'm just happy about it. So
that's so great, man.
Yeah, so I'm shout out to Moms and my Uncle Harry.
Thanks.
But yeah, speaking of Uncle Harry, I would be remiss if I didn't mention him in this. I don't even know if he's gonna get to see it, but he kind of put the battery. He put the battery in my back when it came to, because he was on the same path when he was in school, and he was always the guy that everybody called. People still call him, but I call him like, "Hey, how do you do this, or what? Like, who do you know that can do this, or some of that in that fashion?" And we all are into like tech or like computers, phones, iPads, chips, fire sticks. If you need a fire stick, let me know.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug. If you need a fire stick and you need something to put on there, you can watch everything. Please let me know. So, but yeah, he like is a continued inspiration to me because that was one of the first things I saw growing up. Like he was like into like stuff back then, and then to see it now, like he's like he's kind of exposed me to people that and put my name in rooms that I hadn't been in yet.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So it's just like I never forget he took me to a hackathon, and he put me in a room where there was actually developers with his company, developers, engineers, project managers, people. It's a guy that he works with to this day that still ask about me. Like, hey, how's Quincy doing? Like, how's he doing? Like, I will always like be grateful because it lets me know that okay, you own to something. Just keep pushing, keep going. And he always tell me, be patient, young man. Be patient because he tell me all the time, like, I didn't start until I got this age. Like, it don't go by age, but I didn't start till this time, and now look, what I'm saying. So always, and that takes me back to always remember where you are. Never forget where you came from, and just embrace it because your time gonna come. Like, it's gonna come. Like,
you just need to make sure you're ready when it comes.
Exactly. Preparation is key. Y'all.
You got to be ready. That's what the downtime is for. That's what the isolating dark times, like the moments where you are isolated. God is low key giving you time to like.
He talking to you.
He is if you're putting yourself in position to listen, because he definitely is like maneuvering some things for you, and your gifts will make room for you. But it's up to you to do what you got to do when you get in the room.
Exactly.
And if you're not prepared for the moment, you will fumble the purpose.
You will fumble it, you will miss it, and then realize that, dang, I missed it. Because
it's crazy.
I feel like there's times where like when you really want to like understand and hear God, if you don't hear him like audibly, you'll see him or hear him through something else. Like it can be a TV show, it can be a song, it can be something you see on social media.
How do you hear him? Anything. How do you hear God? Because I always like asking this question because he screams at me a lot. So I want to know. It's loud for me, but what is it for you?
For me, I would say it's a scream. I would say it's a scream, but it's through somebody else.
Oh, it's through somebody else. Okay, so Keezy. Okay.
Yeah. See, I ain't said name. I ain't said name. So that's how I know. Or it's Ty.
Yeah.
Or it can be, honestly, trend like, I'll hear something in prayer.
Yeah.
That's how I knew like my relationship was getting strong, because I'll start hearing stuff.
Yeah.
When I hear it, I write it down. Or no, one more
Absolutely.
thing. One more thing, dreams.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like we talk about like vivid dreams to where like I remember every single detail.
So you have vivid dreams.
Because sometimes like you kind of like, you have a dream, you forget about it, and you're mad you forgot about it. Sometimes, like I just told Kitty the other day, like I think it was New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. Like I had a string of 4 dreams that just came back, and I remember every single one of them.
Like to be continued.
To be continued, and it was like, but the last dream is gonna be a missing piece. To where you headed, or to what your heart desires.
Wow.
And I'm like, what should I say?
Look, I'm gonna say this so you can make your decision if you want to speak it or not. Mm-hmm. Power and death. What is it? Life and death live in the power of the tongue, right? Isn't that what it says?
That's very true.
So
I might as well say it because I feel like it's a part of my testimony. So why not? So to be honest, the ultimate desires of my heart is to be the best version of myself in every aspect. And one thing in my prayers that I always say is, God, I want you to be who you create me to be, whether that's a kingdom citizen, the son, the nephew, the cousin, the brother, the godfather, and ultimately the husband and father.
Yeah.
So those last 2, husband and father, they come with these strange dreams.
Wow.
And so Trina, I kid you not, like I had a dream about where I'm getting engaged, where I'm engaged to whoever my wife is, I don't know who she is, but I know where I'll be getting engaged. I saw myself at the wedding giving a speech and a toast.
Wow.
I've had dreams about my kids. It was four names, and I've been told I'm having 4 kids.
Wow.
I got the names of the kids. They're gonna be twins. They're gonna have a set of twins.
Oh, that's exciting! I got a babysit.
And hey, Lord have mercy. Two of me. Ooh, they're gonna be quiet, but that's
we gonna see.
They're gonna be quiet. I was a quiet child growing up, but whoever my partner is, then But
yeah, you don't know.
So that's what is it? That's 1, 2, 3. Okay, so here recently, I had a dream or a vision about a venue, and I saw a venue on Facebook. It was so random. I was like, where does this come from? I didn't even say nothing about no venue. So I click on it like a number. Because it reminded me of where I was going to get engaged. Or I was, and I'm like, okay, this is nice. But I'm thinking it's somewhere like California or, somewhere like out west. because it looked like that, or somewhere like in Europe or something like that. Kind of find out it's in McKinney. I'm like, okay.
It's in Texas.
I say,
and East.
I said, God, what is that? So it got me to thinking, like, okay, all right, so that's 1, 2, that's 4.
Wow.
So now I have all this. That missing piece is a significant other, the wife.
She's coming.
So that's been my thing, and I've had hints, but then again, I'm not. You never know. And at this point, like, I got a whole security team you gotta go through. So
you do.
I have a whole security team. So yeah,
y'all,
whoever you are, ma'am, just be prepared.
If she writes, she won't even be worried about it.
I don't think she will. I think she'll fit right in. Whoever she is.
The right one gonna be breezing right through it. You know what I'm saying? Because you're right with yourself and with God, so you good.
Exactly. But yeah, that when God speaks to me through dreams, like that, like I remember those dreams from like months, like beginning of the year, like months ago.
That's absolutely amazing, Quincy, because everybody does not have that. You should feel very blessed, like to be able to see it and remember it.
I remember
in real life form, like wow, you can remember that, and then you're starting to see signs and miracles. So it's like wow,
like sis, like I kid you not, like Keely tell you, like that dream I had about the wedding, I remember everything. I remember who was there. I remember my suit. Wow. I saw Keely in her pantsuit.
Yeah.
I saw the champagne. So I saw the silhouette of the woman. I just didn't see her face.
Wow. Well,
so it's just like
that's crazy.
So I'm just like, okay. And then also like I feel like that culminates with like prayer and fasting, because a lot of my revelation comes after I fast, if I'm on a fast. So like basically like I'll do a corporate fast, or sometimes I'll fast on my own. I'll never forget, like last summer, I fasted the entire summer. Like the entire summer. And it was for an individual. Well, it has something to do with the individual, but like I just knew something wasn't right.
What was your fast though? What did you do?
So it was a water fast. So what I would do, no food or sugar from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And you would pray 3 times a day. So pray at 6, 12, and then 6 p.m. So with that, and there were some times where I would go and wouldn't eat at all. Like just because I just wouldn't be hungry. I just drink water. But what I learned is those are the times, like those quiet times, where God speaks to you the most. Like you be in your word, you be in your prayer closet, your prayer hallway, whatever you got, your war room, or whatever you have. Like that taught me, that kind of helped groom me more into realizing like who I was in Christ.
Yeah, and you need to be able to hear Him.
Exactly, and a lot of times you kind of know, but you run away because a lot of people think like being a Christian is like boring, and it ain't cool.
It's eventful.
That's a whole nother type for a different day.
It is. It's eventful as heck, man.
But you know, it's amazing how that I'm just thinking about it now. Like, dang, that was a year, like a full like summer of straight like prayer and fasting, and that's where a lot of revelation comes. And sometimes like you feel it coming, because it's just like, okay, this is what's happening, and then you'll see something like, okay, that's a sign right there. And how I really know is every Sunday for church, if I went through something, I had a conversation about something, it was in the message, no matter what it was.
It's amazing. It is amazing when He speaks through those messages, and then like uses other people just to like give you clarification. It's insane how it works that way, but that's just God.
Yeah, that's just Him. He's omnipresent. He's everywhere. So, everywhere. So I'm just like, okay. And yeah, like that's how I hear God through multiple like avenues. Like it's just like even like recently, like certain stuff, like I'll be watching a movie or I'll be watching a TV show or something like that's God. Like it's amazing because like wow, I never really seen it like that. So and then sometimes you can kind of see how people move too. Like if you really pay attention, like that's something to exactly discerning spirits, y'all. The discerning the spirit, y'all. When y'all have a good feeling about something, like or y'all have like a something told me not to do that.
Yeah,
that's discerning. That's discerning.
That's discernment.
Because just like there are so many times where I was gonna go somewhere, I'm like, I would think I'm talking myself out of it, but like it was like, nah, don't go. And then it would be a better decision because like something would either happen or, you know, it will be in your best interest to stay where you are. So, that discernment is a beast, like seriously, because you can save yourself a lot of trouble, a lot of headaches, a lot of migraines. A lot of migraines in my case. Boy, I'll be getting migraines like no. But
oh no.
Yeah, I gotta get checked out. But I wouldn't say checked out. I think that's just something it's hereditary because my family get into.
Yeah, just gotta make sure you check in, make sure everything's good.
Yeah, I check in and I make sure everything is straight, but it'll save you a lot of wasted time. Like discernment is something that's very key. And if you don't know if you don't have it, then all you gotta just ask God for it. He'll show you.
Please ask for it because you need it. To maneuver out here in these streets. You gonna need it.
Yeah, well, like there's so many times where like you can really read people without even trying to. Or you can kind of like not. I would say like there's sometimes like somebody like is genuine or not. Yeah. Or if you know something is like kind of off, you kind of feel like okay, something's off here. And that's not to be judgmental, but it's more like to protect yourself. That's very important. Yeah. You don't want to walk into nothing that's like potentially be a downfall. So
you got to protect your heart. So that's what it comes down to: protecting your heart and making sure that the people you surround yourself with are reflections of God, and like whoever you attach yourself to, y'all are birds of a feather in society's eyes. So you want to make sure whoever you surrounding yourself with is equally yoked. Friendships, relationships, business partners. Like I tell myself every day, I read my life goals out. I got all my stuff out here because I want to make sure I'm doing what he asked me to do. So I have to remind myself daily of what the goal is. And one of my things that I always ask God to do is like, make sure that every person, project, institution, whatever, I don't want to be accompanied by anybody or anything that's not bringing honor to God. Like, and I'm not saying you got to be out here knowing every scripture or nothing like that, but your character tells me everything I need to know about you before we even start working. Like, if I see how you move, I see your characteristics. If they don't align with mine, I can't do it.
I can't mess with you. It's
no amount of money matters. No amount of money. I don't care if you came to me with $10 billion. If your integrity is not intact, I can't do business with you
at all. Like, all money ain't good money.
It's not.
I tell you that because it's just like, man, like I got offered to do something for somebody. I think you did too, by the same individual. But again, discernment. But even back then, I wasn't even like fully understanding of everything. But I knew then I was like, they're not gonna pay me. They're not gonna pay me. Like, even if I do all this work, they're not gonna pay me. So I just like, all right, whatever. And
it's already hostile environment anyway. So no.
Exactly. So it's just like, and then you saw like the downhill spiral of what that could have been. And to see everybody else that left has excelled. I don't know if you noticed that.
Oh, yeah.
But everybody that has left that
thriving.
Is thriving. And
thriving. Yeah.
It just happens like whoever whoever inherits something and don't know what to do with it, it's just using it for a title.
Yep.
That's what happens.
It will come down eventually.
Young peoples, or millennials, whoever you is.
We millennials.
We millennials. Look, anybody. Look, I tell anybody this, like, y'all, them titles don't matter, man.
They don't.
Titles do not matter, bro. Like, again, that's why I don't like people that seek attention so much, because like them titles, like at the end of the day, like if I know your title before I know your name.
You made a very interesting point when you were talking about your uncle. I think it's interesting that he planted that seed in you when you were younger, and like now looking at what you are now, I think it's funny because I was already working it out back then.
He was working out back then.
Yeah, he was already working it out back then. But you said something like, he's putting my name in rooms that I haven't even entered into yet. And honestly, that's what it comes down to when it comes to following Christ. It's like he's gonna reveal to you what to do. Sometimes he gives you the big picture and no steps, or he gives you the steps and no big picture. Like it's like, you gotta. That's where your faith comes into play.
Exactly.
And it's amazing because it's like he will put your name in rooms that you do not even know exist, and people are like literally creating deals for you right now. And that's why it's important for you to prepare, regardless of what your circumstances look like, because I mean, you just don't want to get to that space and then don't have the equipment, the intellect to handle the pressure and the responsibility of the power. You know what I'm saying? So take advantage of them dark moments, man, and them isolating moments, because it can be bad. I know it's hard. It's hard.
Those times, like if you're not really, like, I guess, understanding of how to use those times, that's when the enemy mess with you. Like he'll plant those seeds in your mind, like, oh, you like this, you might as well quit, might as well forget about it. Or, recently we see like a lot of people that are, unfortunately committing suicide because, especially during this whole pandemic, because people feel like, oh, I was up here, and now since all this happened, I'm down here now. So
they're not to be alone.
Exactly.
Like they social butterflies. They need people to put that battery in their back forever. You know what I'm saying? It's different when for a moment it's different, but when you need it for like your life.
That's why I would never understand like these people that are going out like to these packed out events, or people that are mad about wearing masks, or people that's mad about this and that. I'm like, look, it wouldn't be like this if everybody would just be on one accord. Like people feel entitled.
Yep.
And we know who them and they are. So, but just use that quiet time, use that dark place you're in for good, because again, like everything is working out for your good. Just remember that for sure. But like use that you can study, you can read, like you said, you can do so much. Like you can learn something about yourself. You can do.
Yeah, get it.
So
routine.
It's just like
you need a routine.
Pray, do what you gotta do with that. If you gotta get your skin right, get your skin routine going. You can do so much. Work out, like
everything.
Start your healthy eating journey. Like, you can do so much. Like you said, routine. So and your routine turns to a lifestyle. So it's just like just make some of yourself to the point to where like it just becomes easy. Like it becomes
you can control.
Right. It becomes like second, like like the back of your hand. So it's just like it's perfected, man. Like that's really all I can say. Like it's just really it's really like life is funny, man, because like you really get to see your growth. You get to see like where you were and see how you come, like where you're going.
Yeah. If you stop to smell the roses though.
Yeah, because
you have to slow down. We gotta slow down.
Stop. We have to slow down because I feel like if we don't, we're gonna miss a lot.
But that's why God pressed pause. I was laughing because I was like, God literally pressed pause on all of us, on everything. And I loved it. I said, God is, I mean, there's a lot of things that went wrong last year, but there are a lot of things that he allowed to like put us in certain positions. And if you stop and just look at the situation for what it is, COVID is horrible. A lot of people lost their lives. We lost a lot of monumental people last year. But you have to search for those slivers of, hope and light in those moments. And it was definitely a lot of like progress made in that dark time as well. And if you think about it too, if you have student loans, you literally just got a whole year of interest free. Like a whole year of interest free. Like we didn't even have to pay interest last year. You know what I'm saying? Just the little bitty things. You have to celebrate those small wins. And like, thank God every day that you still breathing, because this is a luxury. Me being able to speak to you right now is a luxury. And before I
likewise.
get on any call, I definitely pray about the conversation. I pray about all of this before I even get on with anybody. Because it needs to be an exchange that's positive for both of us and whoever will possibly watch it.
Right.
So,
I just to quote my bishop, and shout out to him because this is like the first time I've been in a church where I feel truly connected, you know. But he had a saying that he's had several sayings that has stuck with me over the years, but this one really it really hit when I feel like I feel stagnant, or I'm not seeing things, or I'm just kind of feel like I'm just not where I want to be. He said, "Victory don't always look like victory when you're on your way to victory."
It's true.
And when I'm getting chills now when I say it, because wow, it goes back to what I said earlier. I'll look up, I'm like, dang, I'm in a new apartment, a big apartment. I've been sustained. You know what I'm saying?
That's the key.
That's the key. I've been sustained. It's just that's a victory in itself. So it's
it is.
You on your way somewhere. Just be patient. Just really understand patience. Understand why things are happening the way they are.
Yeah.
I just say embrace it. That's something. Every time I get frustrated, but I just remember, another way. I hear God in the shower.
Yeah. I feel you.
I'll never forget. I was mad about something that happened at work. And I was driving home, was talking out loud. I got in that shower. I just heard embrace where you are.
Yep.
Embrace where you are, because it's gonna all make sense. It's gonna all make sense. So that's just kind of been my motto for this year or so. So I mean,
well, normally I would be having a vision board party around this time, but COVID is not allowing me to do that. So, do you already have a word, theme, and quote for the year?
A word, theme, and a quote. I don't have a word, theme, but this will always be my quote. And it's from the late great Nipsey Hussle, the marathon.
Nipsey.
Because I always was a fan of his, outside of music.
Yeah, he's a dope man.
His business mind was
yeah.
I thought about something last night. He was talking about Bitcoin way back then.
Yeah.
And now, I'm investing in Bitcoin because why not? Because you want to have multiple streams of income. You want to be able to invest in certain things and learn things about the market. But that's my quote. It's just the marathon continues. That's cliche, but
it's really not though.
It's not. I mean, it. Well, people may think it is, but we don't hear about them. But that's something that's gonna stick with me forever because it's not a race, not a sprint. It's a marathon.
Yep.
And my word of the year, I don't know. My word last year was embrace. I had to pray on my word of the year. But
yeah.
That's my thing. I was thinking about doing a digital vision board.
Yeah.
On my computer, and just kind of figuring things out that I really want to accomplish this year, and what I would like to accomplish going into years to come. I know the main thing for 2021 for me is to, one, again, straighten my relationship with God even more. But the biggest thing is setting myself up and my family up for the years to come. That's been my biggest. 2020 was that. Seeing my family help me the way they did, and continue to be supportive. It's just okay, I want to be able to, help the ones that help me throughout this time.
Yeah.
So I guess for me, 2021 is building that to set everybody up. How can we, as a family, how can we, become better? I got family members that are so talented in different things. So why I can use my gift to help them. We can all help each other to build an empire, build our own thing. And that's just something I've been thinking about here recently, probably like the last couple of months of 2020 was like, how can we set ourselves up as a family to, be straight, be good? Like we straight now, but it's just like, how can we be good, like for grandkids, great grandkids,
generational wealth.
Exactly.
That's it.
Because now we still breaking generational curses now, but like, why can we not? We build a new path. So that's just something that always stuck with me. So
that's what it's all about. Talk to him first and get that vision, and go execute. That's all it's about.
Execute.
That's the key.
No, I was just thinking out loud. Execute is a powerful word.
It's got to execute.
That's something that we don't do as a society as a whole. Like, we'll have these great ideas, but won't execute them.
Nope, because it requires work.
And people don't want to work.
They don't want to work. So, yeah, I'm going to share with you mine. I looked at my vision board just now, so I'm going to share with you mine since I already got it done, so I'm going to say it. My word this year is skin, like skin.
Skin? Okay.
Because there's different parts to it, because I want to be completely comfortable in my skin. So I'm on this quest to becoming unbothered, completely unbothered. Ooh. And my other part to that is I want to have skin in the game, which means like I just want to be all in on my businesses, like, because that is the ultimate goal for me. And I just know that I have to be all in. So skin in the game, and then to have protection, regulation, and sensation. The real meaning of what your skin does.
Right.
So that's why my word is skin. Okay. And then my theme is my theme is from potential to reality, because I feel like I have a zillion ideas. You know what I'm saying? And I want to see it. I want to see it.
Right.
And then my quote is, "How you do one thing is how you do everything." You see, I ain't have to look at that.
Didn't have to look at that. That's
how
ingrained.
You do. That is. I want to be balanced across the board.
Right.
With the same intensity in every area of my life. So, that's the goal this year, and I feel like I can use my gifts. Yeah.
Because that was a part of. Well, I tell you. So going back to my bishop again, he said for 2021 we need to have a bulldog tenacity.
Absolutely.
What we went through in 2020, we need to have a bulldog tenacity, because there's gonna be some battles for sure. But there's battles anyway. So
yeah. But you made it.
Exactly.
That's what I don't understand. It's like you went through all of that. And I think I said this a million times in my little videos last year. If you made it to this point, like there's no way you cannot believe that God does not have a plan for your life. Yeah, there is something attacking us that's invisible. And you made it. There's no other reason to be on fire to go do what you need to do. Like, you made it, you have a purpose.
With the quickness.
But yeah. Well, I got to ask you two more questions, my 2 round off questions real quick. If you knew then what you know now, would you change anything?
I would change a few things. One, don't allow your fear and somebody else's fear to, project your decisions or whatever you want to do. Like, to this day, I wish I wouldn't listen to people instead of like think for myself, because all along, like, and sometimes these were family members. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, these people I trust and I love, but it's just like, I wish I would have did this differently, because I understand now as an adult, like, I don't want to be like that. I want to be me. I don't want to be on that path. And that's when I realized, like, it's a bloodline breaker, or breaking generational curses.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I found myself like not being like that, and to this day I feel like I be the forgotten family member, because I be in my look. If I'm not at work, if I'm not at work, I'm at home. I ain't look. Why don't you call me? The phone will both ways.
Exactly.
I'm here. I'm here.
I'm
But
working.
I'm working, like y'all, like, yeah, I work 10-hour shifts. I don't be having time. I don't want to talk to nobody. I just want to get in the shower, sanitize, get in the shower, sit in my chair, decompress. So give me an hour to decompress. Then I might want to talk.
Yeah.
But I get. I would say like I wouldn't allow somebody else's fears to be projected on me.
Yeah.
Decisions.
Yeah.
Was that the home? Yeah. That was
yeah, that was. And you kind of already answered this one though. Do you believe your purpose is a journey or a destination?
It's a journey, man. The destination is a stop.
Yeah.
The journey keep going.
Yep.
So I don't want my journey to stop. I want to keep going.
Yep. I want my journey to keep going even when I'm not here. So
Facts.
Like Nipsey Hussle said, it's a marathon.
It's a marathon.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot.
Well,
I need to write that down. Where's it's over there somewhere. I'll write it down. That's going on right now for sure.
For real. Well, bro, you did amazing. Thank you so much for coming on.
I did.
You did amazing. I think a lot of people will be able to find truth in what you said throughout this whole interview. And I'm glad that you were honest with yourself and you were, forthcoming with everything, or sharing your experiences. So I thank you so much for coming on.
Trina, I appreciate you for allowing me to be on here. I don't really. This is my first time being on the podcast, so I'm just like, I'm talking to the homies. I'm cool, but yeah. So people don't really know this side of me. So I think it'll be. People think I don't talk. People think people literally think I'm a beat, but
no, I'm just observing.
Exactly. If you know, that's an inside joke. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. But I'm just appreciative of you just allowing me to even be on this platform, and thank you for your videos. Thank you for everything because that it's really encouraging to see it. And I take this to all y'all. Everybody do videos or posts, but everybody watching. So, and I appreciate you for doing everything you're doing. Just keep going, sis, because it's gonna take off.
I appreciate that. I trust that too. I really do. And at the end of it all, like I know that God, I'm doing it for God, so it has nothing to do with nothing else. So I appreciate you recognizing that, and I pray that it does help somebody because most of the time I'm talking to myself.
Hey,
just to be honest with y'all.
Sometimes all you need. But hey, it's
I'm talking to
somebody.
myself, get myself together. That's what I'm doing via video. That's what I'm doing.
Sometimes you need those trip talks.
All the time.